rise up and we follow the path that we believe in. No, we're not gonna stop until we reach it. Oh, all you need to know is that we're holding on. We rise up from the dust and claim our throne. We rise up from the dust and claim our throne. We all have our reasons why we are on this track. Oh, we all have our burdens, yeah, but we just keep on fighting and we never look back. Here we go, go, go.
What up, everybody? Let's see if the chat will hang out with us on this one again. Maybe all the issues will be behind us. This is my daughter's stream, huh? That's the grandmother's, right? All right, cool. Didn't have to refresh it on that one. See, I guess we just need to play country music or something else, or, you know, I don't know. So we got a few things. I finally got around to, and if this thing is too hot, let me know. It looks like it's peaking sometimes on the audio. So we'll back it back down a little bit. I'm sure I'll get louder as the night goes on. So I did do a little test board thing that I wanted to try out, and we'll do this little dry run. And the only thing bad is when I turn the damn light on, it washes the left hand side or right hand side of my face out. But so I don't know, we'll try to roll with it. And if find me a decent little pointer. What's up, Raspy? So basically what I'm doing here is the way I kind of designed this board was, we do a lot of different tests and things with like little Node MCUs and little LEDs, but it just doesn't paint the picture of what you're trying to do. What are you buying from Amazon? Whatever you want to buy. So basically what this does is power comes in, and this cup is my high-tech diffuser for the LED lights. Otherwise you can't see them. The light washes out, but they work great in a little cup that color. But basically the power comes in on the left and feeds this box, and I did put a cover on it, and then this wire actually goes out to here. And the reason why I did a plug is so I know, you thought, well, hey, why don't you just use a cool little smart switch or something like that, or some type of relay? Well, I wanted to be able to, and I put it on this side on purpose, is that way I would know anytime I'm messing with stuff or rewiring, this is my air gap. So I know that whenever this is unplugged, everything else on this side, including the lights, etc., is not powered. Now, of course, the two plugs here, if I can unplug it, this thing was tight. I was messing with some stuff earlier. So basically this is powered up right now, and that's the only thing on the board. So, and then I did everything. I gotta move some of this stuff. And then we did Wagos all in here, and basically like this would be a smart light that's powered all the time. I did this for a bunch of different configurations. Whether you wanted to do like some smart lights and device groups, or you want to do some actual dimmers or an actual three-way. So I can just change the configuration here. Like you can see, I was testing basically one smart light that was constantly powered, and then this light, and no, again, it's not on, so I can stick my finger wherever, was powered through this box, and I actually had a dimmer sitting right here. And I didn't have this one. This one's going to be for like a three-way, actual doing a true three-way, because I do have the red travelers, you can see. And did everything with Waygos, so I can instantly change stuff. If I wanted to do like a device group with two dimmers, controlling smart lights, we can do all those little different configurations, or even control a smart plug, etc., all right here on the board. And I figure I can use this on live streams, or even just possible some videos, and it kind of keeps it where everyone can wrap their mind around, because it's kind of like set up like your house, because you've got at least for the US side, you've got your one box here, you can put your plug, it leads to a light, or you can do three-way, etc., and boom. So that's kind of my little thing. We'll do a little test setup deal, and I do have a few different switches and stuff. Like I think this is a regular Treat Life switch, Martin Jerry switch. Looks like I think this is one of the Treat Life dimmers with the little touch panel, and of course one of the little Martin Jerry dimmers. So no, I don't know what we ever will get to or whatever, but yeah, that's a root beer. So Yosef, I guess I'll say it if I'm saying it correctly. So we can't condone any type of drinking at all, so that's not good. Never know who's watching. So that is that, and I will turn, which the light, not too bad. If I turn the light off, it's not too bad. It's just probably not as detailed. So, but we'll see. We'll kind of see how we go. So what's new in the world? What's going on with everybody? Feel free to drop anything in. I know I don't know if, oh, I know, forgot the damn link, right? We'll just throw it there. All right. I knew I forgot something. So we're going to, sorry about that. Bring this over here. Got your QuinLed. Yeah, I got a couple of them a while back, and I was gonna put them through the ringer and see how things work with that. Let me get this window sized, and we will go from here. So, yeah, exactly. It's root beer. And why did install the dryer CT clamp? Yeah, did you go with the ESP home one? I know that I haven't tried it yet. You can also do CT clamps with Tasmota. I haven't played around with that. I know they added that a while back. I just haven't tried to do that with Tasmota yet. So, yeah, I'm not sure if I did buy, like I said, I think I bought 2 of those just to mess with. And last year I just ran just some Node MCUs off of some 12-volt power supplies and 12-volt lights, and it worked fine. So just install pfSense. I upgraded to, I run OpenSense, which is pretty close to, they're just 2 forks. Well, I guess OpenSense, the fork is off of pfSense. I upgraded to one of the latest versions. I started having some weird DNS issues one night, and the DNS would stop after a couple hours. So, but then I played around with a bunch of different settings and it's been fine, knock on wood, for probably 2 days or so now. So, but a couple things. What's the option for AP if no Wi-Fi connection? That's going to be your Wi-Fi config 2. And just to, if you look, I typically, there's pros and cons to doing the Wi-Fi config 2. This is the one I think you're looking for. Oh, it's no problem, Federico. We already showed all your stuff and everything, man. Nothing worked, and we figured we're gonna write a bug report later, Federico. Just kidding, of course. So you're looking for a 2, and now the only thing bad about that is, for instance, if you're doing a firmware upgrade and you don't have multiple access points available to all of your devices, or your router or whatever you're rebooting, then all of your devices are going to go into access point mode. And some people really don't like that. They're like, well, all my neighbors can see all of my stuff, and because it shows all the access point names. And if you do have a web password set, of course they can't get in there. And now this would be a compile time only option. You can compile your own bin files where it has a WPA2 password. That way they can't even connect to the AP. But that's one of the bad things about 2. But the other ones are just going to keep trying to get on that Wi-Fi again, which can be kind of a pain, especially like with bulbs and stuff like that. But of course, if you did leave the power recovery option as default, then of course, if you really had to, you could do that toggle off 6 or 7 times. So, recommend a Pi for hosting. Yeah, the Pi 4 probably, if you're buying something new and you want to do something small, probably the Pi 4. The Pi 3 is just too slow, and definitely. You can start out doing the Pi 4 and say an SD card, but definitely start trying to look for doing an SSD, booting and running your HASS.io on the Pi 4. It's just because the SSD is made for all those writes. It's much faster for things, but the main key is just reliability, because of course that SD card is just going to kick to the curb, right when you need it, when you're gone or whatever. So, yeah, definitely. See, Raspberry's got it. You can do the SSD. It'd be the ticket. I don't think, was it pre? Oh, HASS.io USB boot. Okay. I know I'm probably not gonna get. Even I did on the Pi 4. I just installed my own OS and did the supervised, like install like Raspbian or Debian. I guess Debian would be on the computer. I did that with a VM. Install your own OS, and then you can do what you want to do, and then just do the supervised install. And if you're that comfortable with it, just roll with it. It works fine. And if you ever really have a HASS.io issue, or Home Assistant issue, then you can just SSH straight into the OS and do what you need to do and fix it. So I did want to go over Resin Chem. That's going to be a little different. I run 3 different ones. I run 2 by production and dev. I run those just in Docker. They do point to the same MQTT server. And the reason why I did that is so I could just point my device to that one MQTT, and then I could do auto discovery on the other side. I could test things and not having to remember which MQTT server it was on. But then later I did do a VM with Debian and put that supervised install just so I could check out some of the features and stuff for videos and whatever. And that does have its own MQTT add-on. But to be honest with you, I just like to do one MQTT. And that way I don't have to bring over devices and stuff. I don't see any issue with it, with sharing between production and dev on MQTT. So I'm not going to go through all. So MQTT, oh yeah. See, I do run, because I have MQTT is a Docker container, and I've got a Home Assistant and a Home Assistant Dev, and they're just on separate, different HTTP ports, and they run on the same Docker stack, but of course different containers. So there was a couple features in here. I'm not going through all of them at all. The big feature that was out of 8.4, and I'm not going to beat that one to death unless you really have a bunch of questions, is the Zigbee bridge. That was a real big feature for 8.4. No, Tasmota does not only have 3 rules. That's one of the misconceptions, and even I had that one in the beginning. It's 3 rule buffers. So you can put as many as you want, as many rules inside, which actually you can do more now. I think it used to be 511, but now they have compression. So you can put over 1,000 characters probably, give or take, in each rule. Buffer or bucket, whatever you want to call it. So it's multiple rules. There you go, rule groups. That's probably even better to say. I'm looking for the one that I wanted to see. This one right here I thought was very cool, and I know that I've talked about a couple different ways in Discord on how to do this one. And it's LED power PWM. And you're probably like, what the hell is that? So let's see if we can do one on the test board. I had this guy here. Let's see. If it's going to probably blow out, you should be able to see if I fix the focus on it. The max GPIOs, that's going to be based on the chip. I'm not very versed on their ESP32 stuff. Now I know on the ESP8266, that's going to be, it supports all the GPIOs, even the ones that 8285 has free. So let me get the IP address of that S21. No, it's a little different, Bobby. This one I think this example has it. See, this is all one rule group. I like that word that Patrick did. It's in rule 1, but you can see it has on, and then here's the trigger equals this, and then the do, and then the end on, and then space. I just formatted it like this to make it easy to read for folks, but it would be, actually just one line across the console, and you just keep piling them in there as much as you can until it says you can't put any more. Now the only thing is you put all those rules in that one group, and then you turn on and off that group. So if you turn it off, and you put 10 rules in there, you turn them all off. And it may not be good when you're testing stuff, so you may want to split them up. Just depends on how you're trying to do things. Yes, the rules in TDM is so much easier because it actually breaks stuff up for you and everything. A lot of times I'll write a rule because it's hard in that console and it may be whatever. I'll end up writing it like in Notepad or something, or Notepad++, and then I can format it out and copy and paste easily, and then I'll just paste that in the console. Yeah, there's three groups in there, so it's probably, if you had to, I mean, like easily 2,500 characters. That's just a lot to pile into one. The only time I've run into it is when I was doing all the rules on the 433 megahertz bridge. But now I may not even run into that with the rule compression. Now that you can put more in each rule, but by that time my ADD will probably kick in, and because I'm doing all kind of other craziness, and I probably just want to kick things to NodeRed after that. So, IP address for the S21. And we'll get in here and I'll show you. So this one's already upgraded. Probably now I'll go through probably one of these others, and I'll show you how to upgrade it for the ones that don't know how to upgrade. It's really simple, and but these probably have my my little custom thing. I pre-build some bin files, and I have some this one is filled out. Okay, this one's filled out already. So we'll actually probably use this one as a test later. So that PWM power, if you can see the LED on the plug, if I do LED power, this one should turn on with 1 here. Now the issue is, you like all your status lights and being able to tell if it's on or off or whatever, because sometimes it's not on a light. But then some of the devices, the status lights are just too bright. Now, before someone asks if they have a Tuya MCU, like some of these, like this dimmer, if you can see it here, then you're not going to be able to change the brightness of those because the Tuya MCU does all the LED controls. So this is going to be on like your regular switches and plugs, where you basically have something that is set up for like LED 1, LED 2. So the cool part is when you do LED power PWM, and I'll search, you can do LED power PW, maybe they don't have it in here yet, unless I missed it. Is it in here yet? No, I don't see it. Okay, we'll just go off of here. I know I saw the I know I found the commands because I did it on my other one. I thought, like, this is pretty cool. And I don't think it was it command LW LED PWM. I think it was LED PWM mode. Yeah, PWM mode. It's a long thing. 1, that's going to be LED 1, and you have to turn it on. And then you do LED PWM. Look, I'm forgetting it already. I think it's PWM on, I think it is. Yeah. And see, right now it's set for 255, which that's going to be, like, it's kind of like, think of it like your dimmer range. If you did LED PWM off, is that's going to be 0. So at off, it's going to be 0, and then at on, it's going to be 255 as default. Well, if you do LED PWM on and then do 100, then you'll see immediately. I know it's probably thinking, well, hey, this is real simple. It's stupid. It's, oh, I thought you were talking to me, Frederico. I was like, no, it's working. It's pretty cool that you can just change the dimming of the LEDs without having to go in and go set those as like PWM, and it turns into a mess and dimmers and everything. So, so I thought it was pretty cool. You can go in and adjust all the brightness of things. And you could do LED PW, I can't say that. It's that bad. Off. Let's do 100. And then LED PWM on 200. And let's see if we can see the difference. Oh, no, that's the red light on this is hardwired. Yeah, so that's kind of neat. You can set, if you wanted a status LED of, say, when a light's on and off, then of course you could make it where it just goes bright and then low. So that was pretty cool. So, yeah, this is probably a bad example because this plug, the red LED, is hardwired. So reason why I'm doing that LED power is if I turn it on and off, then the red light's going to show, and I didn't want to confuse anybody. I probably should have done it with like the Martin Jerry switch or something like that doesn't have a hardwired LED. But typically you wouldn't have to do LED power. You would just go in and turn on LED PWM mode 1 for LED 1, and then if you have 2 LEDs, etc., and then you can set your high and low on the status, the status lights. So I've done it to a few switches already in the house because they just had, especially I don't have them sitting here, the BN link plugs. And I know if you have some of those, I thought about using the S31, but I'll use one of the switches and we'll just upgrade it. So if you have any of the BN link plugs, then you probably know why I'm saying this. And those actually, I have not seen anybody saying that these are blocked just yet. But these are the BN link plugs. And looks like they're okay, 10% off. Okay, that's not bad for 4 plugs. And they do have power monitoring, and they don't block the other socket. They were till you convert, I know, like last week or so. I haven't heard anybody say they haven't been. But the LED is just crazy bright on this thing. And I think that's what we started talking about that. And I think not long after that, I saw somebody do a pull request with the PWM dimming on the status lights. But yeah, that thing's pretty bright. I don't know let's see if anybody has a picture. I'm sure there's someone who will have a picture and a review, and they'll really be blown out looking. Yeah. It's really, look, you can see it glowing through on this one. But they're pretty bright. I haven't seen it really glowing through like that, but they're pretty bright. So that did it to a couple of these. So let's see. I'm gonna start closing my windows before I get too crazy. That's a tough one. I did buy some of these a while back, and I use them still every day. They were like ST64. I forgot, they were made by, oh, I can't remember. They were like, Yeah, here there were door. I don't know if these are till you convert. They used to be. I just don't know anymore. And they I haven't had any issues with them humming or anything. And I don't know if you're in the U.S. I'm sure they have them in other countries and stuff. I know they did have some on Alibaba and AliExpress, but I know Alibaba you had to order like 20 of them or something. But they're just that's not actually that's kind of what they. Are these the one? No, these are the these aren't CT. My bad. Where's the CT ones? Is this the yeah? Here's the CT ones. Oh, it's currently unavailable. Let's try the other link that they had. This one. I guess these are smaller. Yeah, those are unavailable too. Damn. I bought like 4 of them and I use them all the time. So, and they're warm white and cool white, and they're real simple configuration. They're just 2 PWM channels. I don't know. We have to dig around and find Edison smart bulb. I'm probably gonna come up with all kind of craziness on here. Looks like Yeelight has some. I don't see any. Well, if anybody sees any that are decent. Now I know Shelly had some, and I'm still waiting on these to come in, the Shelly plugs, but good old mail service. I know Shelly had some vintage ones, but I think they were just warm white though, and that's why I never paid attention to them. They're like vintage or something like that. I know they had the Duo, that was cool white and warm white, but I think the vintage was just single color though. So I don't know if anybody else finds some bulbs or whatever, or let us know. So so Tim, you asking about the one and only that I've really found for US ones is here. I haven't found anything else really that's, and this is made by Treat Life, and I think everything's in that blog post, the links and whatever to buy stuff, but it's till you convert blocked, but it is flashable if you just have a simple screwdriver. If you don't want to solder, this is the first time I used that jig, and it's not too bad to do. I do have the entire setup guide for you with the module and the commands and the rule, etc. And then you do end up with it has 4 speeds, but Home Assistant only supports 3, and I just dropped the first speed. It was kind of too slow to begin with, and it does actually have capacitors, unlike some of the other fan controllers you'll find out there. Yeah, see, that's what I thought. It's probably that Shelly Duo is the only one that, but it's not going to be. They don't have it in that Edison look though. It's going to be in your same little diffuser style look. So, issues: the light and my fan or switch are separate, and the wife has to have 2. Okay, well, this does require, because the way this is, it does require, which I know a lot of newer homes are that way, where you have a separate light switch for light and one for fan. And so it does require both wires, both hot wires, because it has a fan output and a light output on it. And you could end up putting like a lights, a regular light switch on, well, like some other smart switch on the side. And I know it sounds silly, but have it send a command to that one if you don't want to touch it. So I do have one on 73 on set option 73, Alex. But I do plan, and we can probably get to one like that if you want. Yeah, we can probably get to one like that. So and we can do it. We can do a multi-press. The multi-press is not that hard. Well, hell, we can do it with this one. Well, let's do it now. Hell with it. Let's do it live, right? I would so want to play that on YouTube, but mine would, if she didn't want switches changed, that might be a bad thing. But I guess you could really get creative and hide. That's great. Hide stuff in the wall and do some Shellys or I don't. That's very difficult to do. So, so what you need for set option 73, and what that is multipress. And if you do go back, look on my YouTube channel, probably look for multipress, and you won't, you probably will find that. But for multipress is, if you need, I'm checking to see if this one has switch or a button. Yes, it does. Okay, so this device is just that S20. If you do want to do set option 73, it's really simple. You got to have a button 1. You can't have it as switch 1. And just do SO or set option 73 space 1. And what that's going to do is, if you push the button, it decouples it. And I know some people are going, well, hey, it's very slow. I had someone ask that. Well, why is it updating so slow? You know, when I push the button, it takes the console so long to show up. It's not that long, but the way Tasmota works, it's going to handle doing everything first, sending out MQTT, doing everything, and the last thing it worries about is the console. Because 99% of the time, you're not watching that console to look at things. You're wanting that to actually fire the switch or fire that automation. The console's just for doing debugging. So don't worry about the speed of it. Actually, if you had something tied to an automation off of this trig single to like kick a light on, it would kick the light on first, and then you would see it on the console. But you can see all I did, it's real simple. Turn on the SO73, and now when you have, I can do double press. Let me get the thing out the way. There's the double, and then there's triple. Oh, I did double again. There's the triple press, and then you have 4, 5, etc. It goes up to penta, and then you do have the hold, and the default is going to be 4 seconds, but you can change that, of course. So, so not. Oh, I do appreciate it, Alex. So yeah, if you do want to change that hold, and I'm going to show you how to do the rules right quick, because it's pretty cool. If you did a set option 32, and I'm not pulling these commands out of thin air, by the way, is if you come down to the Tasmota commands, and I go into set options, and I have this actually as one of the favorites, but you can find all the set options there. But and Fred, I don't know if Frederico's still in here. I know he was having the internet options. Frederico's the one that brought you this easy set option. Now, if you don't turn on set option 73 and you have a 2 or 3, 4 relay device, like say I don't have one sitting here, but say like a power strip or some other type of dual relay, if you do that one automatically out of the box. If you double click, that's going to do relay number 2. And then if you had relay 3, you did triple, etc. But the really cool part is being, if you wanted to, you can actually right here, you can go take these without doing any rules. I know some people are kind of scared of rules, and I understand that. Without doing any rules, this right here, if you see it says stat, plug, this is going to be your topic, button 1T. If that's a topic going straight to MQTT already. So you could do, if you're a NodeRed person or you're, the Home Assistant guru on doing automations, you can automatically pick up and parse this JSON automatically straight into NodeRed. No rules. And I actually have that done. I can actually I'll pull one up and I'll show you how that looks. I'm not a Home Assistant automation person by any means. So I never learned it. Here, it is a NodeRed. Now let me get this out the way. Let's see. Is it? Here it is right here. So you can see off of this switch, here, I'm just doing a topic, subscribe to that same stat, such and such. I just copied and pasted this straight off the console. I didn't type all this because it is case sensitive. Remember that. Then I dump it straight in. And I'm sure there's other ways to do this. I did dump it, straight into JSON and just say always convert to JavaScript. Yes, that's after putting in SO73 and getting it to work on the console. And then I just went in and parsed payload action. And I have a big if statement per se, single, double, triple, quad, pin, a hold. And then I go ahead and I kick off a bunch of other stuff here. And just I toggle a light and toggle something in the kitchen. And this is off of actually a Martin Jerry dimmer. And I actually took the 3 buttons and have the 6 presses off of it. So, because the same thing, I know what Michael Kyer just said. I actually had a switch and a dimmer, but then I put the fan controller. So now I had an extra spot of nothing. So I just put a Martin Jerry dimmer and I just did multipress off of it. So, all right, Phil, I appreciate it. Of course, you can always catch up when you're bored later. Yeah, so you can have the 3 buttons, 3 times 6, that's 18. And, that's, if you have really good memory, you could do 18 different automations off of that switch if you want to. So, yeah, that's that. And I did no rules with this at all. I dumped it straight into there. Now, if you really want to do rules, you can, if you do rule 1 on, this is my little test one. And what this is just rule 1 on button 1, all states, do a publish. No, I don't have that flow posted. I guess I could. I think you have to go and clean out all the stuff out of MQTT and everything. I know they're not as share friendly. But what I'll do is I'll go through and maybe it might be tomorrow or the next day. Oh, what was that in the JSON file? I'll go back through it. In the rule, this is just a little test rule. Let me show you right quick. This is just a little test and it pushes to a regular topic. And if we did the single press, you can see it's going to push to a topic called button test and the payload is 10. Now, we still get this trigs single. And if we did double press, well, then you get 11. And you could put your publishes and whatever. If you want to make it real easy, you could just dump one rule. I was just showing how to do it with no rules at all. You could do a rule of like rule 1 on button 1 state, do publish. You know, you could say living room button 1 value. In on. So now when you push it one time, it actually published to a topic called living room button 1, and you would just say, hey, if it's 10, do this, if it's 11, do this, 12, etc. And hold is still going to be 3. But I'll show you back in NodeRed right quick. This is in one of my older NodeRed videos. I show how to easily decode the JSON out of a sensor without having to do a bunch of typing. And the way you, well, let's do it now. Let's just do it now. Do we have it? Where am I setting this to? Okay, this one's going here. All right. Wow, that's ugly. We'll do a new flow. So basically what you're wanting to do is, and I'm going to be scrolling the different, the list is all different than what I have set up my other production stuff. So if you drag it in, and we'll go over here, back to here, configuration, main menu, console, and we'll grab this one out here. Now, I think it's showing, and Frederico may be able to explain, I think it's doing the button 1T because I have this as auto discovery. So just check your console on what it's putting out there. Just, so, you know, if it's not an auto discovery, it may look a little different and it may have the action versus trig. Just verify what your console is doing. I like to copy and paste. So we'll copy and paste. And do I need to put, this broker should, it's not going to be in here. It should be in here. I've used it before. I guess not. This is just my little test box. I should have just switched it over to my other one. And no, this isn't my, like I said, this is my super cool password. Oh, look, it didn't even show it. I was hoping it would show it. All right. So we'll do that one first. And then just to make sure this does work, is we'll hook it up, hit deploy, and oh, I didn't do it right. Node status. Done. Deploy. All right. So yeah, it is going there. You can see trig single, trig double, and there's the, so it is going there. So one thing, I hate, this drives me nuts. The window in a window stuff drives me nuts. Hunter 2. No, the password is actually it's just a test VM. And it's a local MQTT server, so I don't care anyway. So to do things, if you do JSON and you drag it out here, let me get that out of the way. And we'll hook this one up and we'll disconnect this one. in JSON, if you do a convert to JavaScript, and then you do done, and then we'll do, if I remember how I did this. I want to say you went to System Console 2, I believe. And it may give an error if I do it to the node status. I think that's what it do. And then if you show, where's the debug part? I'm not seeing it. Usually it's over here on the right, unless it's shrunk down. Oh, here it is. Okay, I'm pushing it a bunch of times just so it rolls up the window. And it's usually not going to be this bad because you're not going to be working on a screen this big. But you can see this object, there's that trig single. And if we do one of the ones, let's do the one up here where you can actually see. If you actually click on, and I want to say it's copy path, if you copy and it actually copies the path to this trig double. And then, if you, again, you don't have to slide this out the way, but if you go ahead and change your payload and you paste, it's supposed to be entire path. See, it's been a while since I did this. I know it's this one where it says, you have to actually open it when it says object, and you can copy not the value, but the entire path, and it will do the whole object for you. And then when you paste in, you can see it says payload.trig, and we'll turn that off, the system console, the node status, and then we'll deploy it. And let's move this guy out the way, and we should be able to see it. Actually say, see it now, it says single, and then it says double, and then 1, 2, 3, and then there's triple. So then you could go ahead and drag a switch out here. I'm trying to go through this kind of quickly, but just this shows kind of, and then I'll take and copy this, because again, I don't like typing stuff, and I always screw it up. You'll see it says it's message payload. You don't want to do message payload. You want message payload.trig, and then you'll add, and you'll see, I think it was single, and then double, and then you'll just go down and you could do whatever, all the way down to penta, hold, etc., like I showed. And you can call it whatever, presses, and then off of each, you can see this one has single, this one is double, and I'm just gonna, for the sake of right now, I don't have anything else to control. I just don't have it in there right now. We'll just pull the debug up, just so you can see it. Now, typically, you would have, you could do like some call services to turn on another light or set some sort of automation or whatever you want to do based on those presses. So now when we do single, you should see it. I'm pointing at the screen like y'all can see it. Now, see, there's that single, and now when I do double, it pops to over here. So it's coming from MQTT through here, converting, and then it breaks out through single or double. And there's a bunch of different ways. I guess you could have done the whole JSON and everything, but I would try to break down the JSON to actually get the value itself, especially like because this is very helpful if you're doing something with a like a BME sensor for temperature, humidity, and you've got like a bunch of different sensors all in one JSON at one time. It gets really, really crazy. So especially like if you're, you know, say like for this one here, if you were subscribed to this here, I mean, you've got version, build, date, time, and then sometimes there may be other JSON, you know, there may be other, I don't know if we call them arrays, if it's correct, but there's other arrays inside there as well, and it makes it crazy to break down, and I hate to go through and figure all that out. I just want to grab it off the GUI and copy and paste. So, so that's what I do with that one there. So, but oh, okay. Oh, definitely appreciate it, Alex. So it's a little drawn out thing, but it's also good for everyone else to go through and see some of that. And if you do need help or whatever, get stuck, I mean, jump into Discord and I'll be happy to help out or whatever. Someone can jump in and whatever. So, so yeah, it's off on a whole different tangent, but so we did set option 73. What other, and I gotta turn this guy back on. Other stuff that I have messed with. I haven't messed with the ESP32 stuff, except last time based on that SO1. What is the SO1? That's the is that the oh yeah, the where you disable the long reset if you want. And if you ever have anybody holding your stuff down for 40 seconds, you can do set option 1, by the way. I appreciate that, Seth. But that also impacts you if you ever wanted to factory reset it. But if you have set option 65 still left as default, you can do the fast power device recovery. So that's a feature that you learn to love and you learn to hate if your power company decides to toggle the power. But it got better. That's pretty difficult to do, but it could still be done. You got to turn it off and on 6 times, and my power company could do that with ease. Not that I have a bunch of issues, but we'll knock on wood. But it's easy to happen if there's a transformer trying to go. I've got some of these I2C sensors as VM. I haven't messed with those. This is one I haven't messed with. Is you can do a Telegram bot straight in. I think you do have to compile that one. You can do Telegram notifications. And it's I know you do because it's HTTPS and there's like a key and everything. I have not done it yet, but it basically allows you to have your light switches and plugs send you Telegram notifications straight to your Telegram app. So apparently, and not to, I know all this, a lot of different people worked on these, and not to discredit a lot of I just don't have a lot of this stuff. But of course, this was the big one, was the Sonoff Zigbee bridge stuff. Now, one big change, and this is where Frederico comes in. Let me turn that back off. Let me get back to, typically when I'm doing, I want NodeRed up as the full, but I guess if you leave this little strip on the side, it's not too bad, but it drives me crazy. But I guess you could come in here and do, supervisor, NodeRed, and maybe open, no, I guess, or you could just say open a new window maybe? It's not letting you do that. Okay. I'm sure there's a way to do it. I was doing it before. But, so for Frederico, I knew there was a lot of issues with, I'm gonna turn that back off because I'm gonna be like, why is the button not working? Let me make sure and take this out. And then we'll just do a restart. Yeah, that still annoys me that I want on the side a couple integrations like MQTT on the side, a couple things on the side that don't open up into new windows and have like this Home Assistant inception where it's like Home Assistant inside Home Assistant. It drives me nuts. So Federico changed up auto discovery based on some comments and some hate mail and death threats and everything else. So if you haven't done auto discovery, it's definitely gotten better since 8.3. Smart India data, flash it in Tasmota. Does it have ESP chip? So if you, this is not in 8.4.0. It's in the latest developer copy. And we'll upgrade one. And I'll show you how to do that. But don't forget. Let me forget to do that. Is if you typically would go in and go to configuration, and then you'd go to configure other. Well, the other old way in 8.3 or 8.3.1, you were putting the device name, and then you're putting a friendly name. And if you did device name, it would concatenate both those together. And so if you did something like this, you would end up with an entity called S20 plug testboard, S20 plug testboard. It's this long thing. And then you had to rename all your stuff, and it was a pain. Well, Federico kind of fixed that for, I believe, and if he's still here, if his internet hasn't kicked him out, is I think it's only single relay and single light devices, and I don't think it covers sensors. I think this is a good way because for single devices, I could see it working out. Now for double, you probably want to name the device and then you'd want to name each relay though. So I could kind of see, I think it's how you did that. For 2 relays, it still uses friendly name 1 and 2, I believe, right? Along with the device name. But for singles, it's real simple. You set it in there and boom, it's going to, see, I just called it. Now don't pay it. I know I've got it in there twice, but it's not going to show up twice. Now I wanted to show you how it does. And you'll also notice a little different if you do set option 19.1, and you're not going to get that big like page full of topics. That's all it's going to do. Just those 2, and that's it. And you saw when you disable it, it also does it shows auto discovery disable if you saw me do it real quick. But once you jump over, and don't mind my messed up GUI, this is where I would like the MQTT button on the left. They need it as a feature where you can just say, hey, put my favorite square over to the left. Because I hate scrolling these squares. They look pretty, but the functionality is just not there. So here's the S20 plug test board, and you'll notice that it's just called S20 plug test board. Along with the entity, there's the switch of it. It's just S20 plug test board. And now this will update eventually. Based on, this is the signal information and stuff. I guess we can force an update if we wanted to. This is just going to be your, well, if it will add, let me just go ahead and add this to Lovelace so we can see it. It lets you do panel custom. I know we did like an iframe thing. And then if you put that link in there, it would open back up and all right. So this is just that little this is the status you get with all these entities straight into. I think this is like a little graph based on the Wi-Fi coverage or Wi-Fi signal, I think it is. But the big thing is you're not having to go, I didn't have to go and rename stuff and rename entities like you would always have to in the previous versions. So let's see if it'll let you paste something in Discord, Justin. Sometimes Discord, the YouTube chat. YouTube chat is very picky on some of the stuff you can paste in there. It gets pissy. So if you throw it into me on Discord, I can put it in there as well. So, and there is another thing Frederico is doing, and I'll say it works, but like I told him earlier, it works, but it's not his fault. It works. It kind of works, but it doesn't. But it's not his fault, really. Yeah. So I know you've all talked. I've talked about I had an automation that, and I would always point to. I have just a little automation that I have, and I talked about it in my retains video and stuff. And this is before really before auto discovery was fixed and stuff and everything. That I had this little automation that when Home Assistant would start, it would do an MQTT publish to all the Sonoffs and all the Tasmotas. Now that was because the old topic names. The new group topic is Tasmotas. It would send these power commands in the dimmer command, the state command. And it basically would force all the switches and everything in the house. As soon as Home Assistant booted up, it would force them to send out all their states of all their relays and dimmers. And that way, Home Assistant always had the latest and greatest of the state of your devices. Well, the one problem with people, because we like stuff to be automatic and you don't want to have to go to this guy's YouTube channel to go learn something on how to get my damn switch to be right after a reboot. Well, I'll watch what is supposed to happen, and like I say, don't blame Frederico for this. But it's going to, I'm sure it will work eventually. And is if you restart Home Assistant, and this one shouldn't take too long, I'm hoping. This is that that's a VM I have. Yeah, there it is. So, but you'll notice the plug is set to off. But the problem is it's on. And that's an issue because even though this thing is on, it's off, it truly is on. So Frederico actually has, Frederico actually has it where as soon as Home Assistant comes online, Home Assistant, and I guess I should have showed that when we rebooted. Home Assistant will publish a topic, and I'll reboot it again. You see, it takes a long time, as you can see. Let's see, let's reboot again. Configurations. See, I want to link to server controls too, because look, I'm looking for the damn thing and I can't find it. I never can find it. So watch right here, and this is just looking at the live MQTT. You should see one that says Home Assistant online. Look, well, there's offline because it's rebooting. Now, as soon as it goes online, it should, now there's online. Now, if we flip back to this device, you'll see it just posted all this information. It's 2325, yeah, so it just posted this. So Frederico's feature is working. And what he was trying to do is when Home Assistant says, hey, MQTT, I'm here, I'm online, I'm up, I'm running, is all your Tasmota devices that were auto discovery would automatically see that message, and then they would automatically send out their state of all of this, which would include the power on. But the problem is when Home Assistant comes online and posts that, it's not really online. It's in a nutshell, it's like we said earlier on Discord. I said it's like the married couple version. Is Home Assistant said it's here listening, but it's not really listening to the other one. And it's yeah, I hear you, honey, but whatever. So then finally it will update, but it's still going to impact you, Justin. I'm not rebooting. When I hit restart, I'm not rebooting MQTT because I would lose connection on MQTT Explorer. I'm just rebooting just Home Assistant itself, not rebooting the whole system. So this did finally update, and the reason why it updated was just due to the tele period, and I talked too long. But I'm going to show you how his feature actually works. Look, I'm looking for restart again. Come on, let it reload. We'll see if we can do it. I was messing with this earlier. Okay, see it's off again. Now if I hurry up and I say publish Home Assistant status online, and I'm just basically forcing a message to go out again from Home Assistant, and I want to make sure it's running. Okay, Home Assistant, I want to make sure it says, hey, everything is running, I'm online, I'm good to go. There. Now, if I do a push, you'll notice that as soon as, I sent out Home Assistant status equals online, I just mimic what Home Assistant does. This plug automatically sends out its state, which would automatically update the relay states. And the problem is Home Assistant is basically sending out that online message too early than for it to be listening for states to come in. So I'm guessing that Frederico sent a message. That's a good idea, Frederico. I like you put that feature in there. So I'm guessing he'll try to get the Home Assistant devs to not send out that online message before it's really online waiting for states. I should be able to, let's see. Let's just go ahead and reboot it again. Configuration. I got this 2 places I should be looking here, so I'm not looking off to the side. Restart. Boom. And then we'll jump back to here. Yeah, so look, it received offline. So there's the reboot. So Frederico's doing everything right. It's just, look, it received online from Home Assistant, and then it sends the states. So, but the problem is it's just sending, Home Assistant is sending the online state before it's really online. So I'm hoping, now I'm sure probably by the end of this week, maybe they'll have that fixed, and it'd be a cool little thing. We won't have to worry about doing any of the, because you can see, look, here's the, look, if I push it again, this is just me forcing it. Yeah, see, I'm showing it's online, and then it is, now there's its state. But basically, you won't have to, in a nutshell, what is going to happen is the average user will just tell the average user, and I use them now, auto discovery, go flash your device, upgrade to the latest and greatest, go in, set your topic and your names, so you get a unique name like living room light or something like that, and do your set option 19, and that's it. You don't have to mess with power retains, teller retains. You have to do automations to get the states, nothing like that. They won't have to worry about any of that. They'll just come straight into Home Assistant and their switch will be right there. They can just hit add to Lovelace, rock and roll. It makes it super simple for the new users to do it. So, so that leads to the next thing is we will, or say I, but with your guys' help, we will do a switch. And give me 1 second while I wire this thing. My mic is not going to be over there, and I won't be in audio, and y'all will yell at me. We're going to do a regular Martin Jerry light switch. All right, 1 second. Y'all can play Jeopardy music or something. So this one goes to here. And this one goes to here. Do our ground. All right. And we'll throw it all over the side, something like that. All right, yeah, Wago 221s. I was not going to do wire nuts again with these things. So basically what I have, and let me put a light bulb in it before I stick my finger in it. I need it. Oh, it's right here. So it's just a standard. And that's going to get washed. You won't be able to see the LED. There's the LED. Let me slide this over because y'all don't need to see the light bulb. All right. You can kind of see the red light, but it's getting washed a good bit by all the lights above it. All right. And I'm pulling up the IP address, seeing what's on it right now. All right, it's a good one to do. But let me change the MQTT on it right quick off my production box. I should have had one set up for you. All right, and this is, let me just set this. This is MJ test board, and we don't need it the same, but okay. And of course you can't see the little red light, but whatever. Who burnt the house down for 200? All right. So typical deal. I can't see the light bulb, but I wonder how cool this would be. Look, you can even see that better. My little cool little diffuser, right? There you go. That's a blast out light. I'm sure it puts a red glow on my face. Make me look like I've been out in the sun more, but that's fine. So for the, I I know Justin was just talking about, and if you're asking about those connectors, it's funny, I just ordered another little box of them. They make them in all kinds of sizes and everything. They have get out the way. They've got the little boxes of them, or you can buy them they have a 2, a 3, and a 5. Now, I'd really say and they're called Wago 221s. Now, they do have a bunch of knockoffs. I'm not too much about buying knockoffs on this stuff because these are certified you can go look on their website because don't quote me on it, but I want to say they're certified by like ETL and some other European stuff in other countries. They're certified in several other countries, and I believe they're even UL listed. But they have all the certifications on there. And before I switched to them, I had a lot of people asking, a lot of people like, oh, you should use Wago 221s. And I was like, oh, no, they're too expensive. And I can tell you this, I can't go back. Especially and you can, like, there's all kind of 221s you can get, especially in a box with like 3 or 4 plugs, switches, and you've got an in and you got going out several places, and you're trying to smash all that in there with your smart switches. And it's just so much easier with putting those 5 wide ones in there and being able to switch stuff out. You don't have to worry about those big wire nuts coming off, because basically you can see. And this is not a commercial for Wago. They did not sponsor or nothing like that. But you can see if I can get down without, there we go. Without making y'all too sick. I should probably turn the light on, but you can see in the, if I zoom, focus it, here's the one on the left, you can actually see it's actually in there, and so is the one on the right. Now, if you do strip them too long, then you don't want the copper showing out of the bottom. And it's just this little door. You lift it up, and of course I didn't have it seated all the way, and you just close the little door. And yeah, they are reusable, and there is a little test point. You can't see it. My meter's behind me. But there's a little test point right in here, and you can stick your meter in there. And there's also a test point in the middle. You can see how the middle one right below the orange door has for a test probe as well for sticking your voltmeter in there. So that way you don't have to take off the wire nuts and see if you do have hot and neutral and stuff. So yeah, there's 2 test points. And they do have the gauges listed on the side. I want to say this one does 24 gauge to 12 gauge. It's another huge thing is you can mix the gauges of your wire in these same device. And look, it is, I want to say that it is UL listed, and there's another logo down below it. So yeah, they're pretty cool. I did go look at a bunch of different videos of like people testing these on high amp loads and stuff, and I was a firm believer after I bought my first little pack. So they're pretty cool. So back to, now I'm turning the light switch off and on. Yeah, it's just too, I've run into situations where I've helped people out on brand new construction, and the inspector should have caught it, but one of the plugs didn't work in the garage, and you pull it out and look at it. Everything looked great. Wire nuts looked great. Everything looked great. But as soon as we started messing with it, one of the neutrals, I don't know why, but they didn't strip it. They just cut it, and they stuck it in the wire nut, and of course, then it didn't go in and get a good contact. And so if you'd have had Wago 221s, which I do understand, the cost of it, they're more expensive than wire nuts. And when you're bidding out jobs and stuff and no one specifically asked for Wago 221s, then you're not going to go bid Wago 221s because you'll get outbid. So I understand that. But for us, when we're doing stuff ourselves, it just makes sense for the Wago 221s. And so I just prefer that peace of mind of being able to see the wire in there. Most electricians, Justin, will tell you that once you take a wire nut off, to throw it in the trash. Most of them will tell you that. I've seen several of them that they when start looking at stuff is just they'll take, as soon as they take the wire nut off, they toss them. So so back to this switch, and you should be able to see now the LED turn from red to blue. But if you're asking how to do the upgrade, I like to do something, yeah, exactly. I wanted to kind of go over this, and I know this is deep in here in the live stream, but if I can teach one person, I'm happy. So I like to do a ping session of this specific switch right here. And to do your upgrade, as I go in, is it getting windy out there? 1 second. I like to do the, if you go to firmware upgrade, now you'll notice that it has a, now the lights are clicking on me. I don't know if we're getting it. Hopefully we're not dropping off here. I heard all the clicking from all of my battery backups. Oh, the lights went off across the street. So there is no power across the street. Luckily we didn't go out of power, because I'd be shutting down the live stream pretty soon. So, sorry about that. If you want, where you get, I'll show you where you get the links to fill that out. It should already be pre-populated. If you want the regular release, it should have the word Tasmota. If you see right here, it says, here's the link to it. Hackbox.org, Tasmota release. Yeah, and actually that has happened. I forgot last time that happened. I had one plug I had just put out, and I forgot to do set option 65 on it, and the power cycled about 7 or 8 times, and that one got reset, and my one LifeX bulb got reset. So yes, the Shellys don't work great on solid wire. I have to use. That's the only thing I don't like about the Shellys, and I don't want to get on that tangent. Is I have to use stranded wire, but they're not. I can understand why, because I think a lot of the countries are using smaller gauge wire due to the 240, and they're using stranded wire. Of course, in the U.S., when you're using 12 gauge solid copper wire, that's a pain. But there's the OTA URL. This is going to put you on the exact release, like 8.4. This is not the dev versions. So if you see how this one's different, there's no release to it. If you come in and you want the latest and greatest, cutting edge and everything that is built every 1 to 2 hours, is come right here to Hackbox.org, Tasmota. If you want to test Federico's new feature, along with the new auto discovery stuff, is come in here and just right click and copy the Tasmota.bin. Wow, the wind's kicking. I can hear the walls creaking. And just hit start upgrade. Now what's going to happen is leave it alone. Don't mess with it. Just let it be. What's going to happen, it's going to download, if it needs to, it'll download Tasmota minimal. And I will say it again, I say this all the time, never ever flash minimal unless you already have Tasmota configured running on your network. Never use minimal for your initial flash. If you're trying to convert something from ESP home, never use it. Now you can see, look, it automatically refreshed my page, but I'm not touching it. And you see in behind me, it dropped out 2 requests. That was actually the reboot from regular to minimal. Now, right now, it's downloading the full bin, and you'll see it drop out again, but I'm not going to mess with it. That's the key of having successful upgrades. And for a lot of people that are using TasmoAdmin, I would turn TasmoAdmin off. Look, now it's flashing the full bin. Turn TasmoAdmin off, because TasmoAdmin beats on all of your devices through HTTP, and it's pretty bad to use that at the same time you're doing firmware upgrades. But actually now myself, when I'm doing upgrades, I don't even flash minimal anymore at all. The reason why I don't flash minimal, now it should be on full now. I can hit refresh, and now it's on 8.4.0.2. Is I don't flash minimal. What I do, if you have version, I think it's 8.2 or 8.1, I can't remember, you can actually download these GZ files. So what I'll actually do is I'll download the GZ, and then I will download the Tasmota bin GZ. You don't have to unzip them, and people are like, well, I don't have to unzip them. Yeah, you can actually just upload the GZ file straight to it. Okay, so you still need IR and sensors if you're jumping to those bigger ones. Yeah, because sensors, I probably passed it. Is sensors in here? Yeah, sensors is, I'm looking at the other sizes, is 627K, so I could kind of see that. So yeah, I would only flash that when you really, really have to. But for the most part, even if you're doing sensors, you can just you can come in here. If you want Tasmota to do all of that, just grab this link. You want to go to sensors? Grab this link. Go to firmware upgrade, paste it into here, and hit start upgrade. And you don't have to do the whole ping session or whatever. Just hit start upgrade and just come back in 3 or 4 minutes. And just because people sit there and constantly refreshing the page, and they're like, oh my God, it's showing offline. No, it's flashing, and it turns off the web server, and then you got TasmoAdmin, refresh it and refresh. It's just don't. So, yes, the ESP32 boards, I want to say those are built as 1 meg, but don't quote me on that. I just don't remember. So yeah, that's how you upgrade them, and you're straight in, and you can actually see the version is going to be the commit number, and it'll show the last time it was built, etc. So it's real simple to flash these switches and upgrade them to whatever version. So. What else were we going to do? We can do something right quick, I think. Yes, I do not use TasmoAdmin. I actually use, and Patrick is here. Actually, I use, it's TasmoBackup. Is it like TasmoBackup V1, I think it is. Yep. And I'll show you TDM as well. So TasmoBackup is, there's a couple ways to install it. You can do it in, via the supervisor. Just follow the instructions, throw it in. It's real simple to do. You can use, if you're Docker Compose, if you're running straight Docker, you can install. So there's all kind of ways to do it. And you don't have, this is what it looks like. It has dark mode in it. You don't have to do, you just go to the settings and hit dark mode. I don't want to jump over that. I think you did put stars on the password, but I don't remember. So what is TasmoBackup for? This constantly does not, see TasmoAdmin, it's constantly beating, if you've ever opened up your devices, and now I have this one on WebLog 4 because of Federico telling me, but you'll notice it's a very clean console. Now, if you have TasmoAdmin running, you ever see it's like status 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, you just constantly, you see all kind of commands and you can't read the console, it's constantly churning. That's TasmoAdmin beating on the device, and it does it through HTTP. Now, these are simple dollar chips. It's amazing what they can do already, but they have their limitations on what they can do, CPU cycles and stuff. And HTTP is really rough on them. And actually, if you're in Discord, you see me call it Tasmo Rebooter. When I first started using TasmoAdmin, I had some Sonoff S31s for power monitoring. And every time I would turn on TasmoAdmin, those plugs kept rebooting. And I didn't know what was going on. I go in and look, and I saw that the restart reason was hardware watchdog. Well, what I finally figured out is it was causing such a delay with the power monitoring in the ESP chip, it was thinking it was locked up and so it'd reboot itself. So that's why I stopped using TasmoAdmin. And so TasmoBackup doesn't beat on the device all the time. And so what it does is you can just set it to say backup like once a day. It'll go through and you can see all these numbers. These are all, now I probably should limit it on the number of backups, but they're only like 4 kilobytes. It backs up all the settings, all the rules, all the templates, the MQTT, everything. It's just like you went in and went here and say configuration and backup configuration, and it downloads that file. And it stores it on your system. So like HASS.io or whatever. And then of course, if you do you're taking snapshots or you're doing backups, well then you're backing up all of those backups. So if you ever lose something on your switch, well then you can go back. But the main thing I use it for is I'll come in and I'll sort, hey, what's my version number? I can see my version numbers automatically. I can see the last time I backed them up. I can sort by the names, they're all in here. And then here's the cool part is if I need to look at that one. Well, I just click the link and boom, I'm straight into the console on that device and it's already there. I used to do the same thing in my UniFi controller, but of course in UniFi, you get the IP addresses, but you can't click the IP address to open the web console. So you had to like copy and paste the IP address. This was the real lazy way of being able to manage everything of all your devices. And it's really easy to come in here and search to add devices in here. You can you can put in your MQTT information and there's the group topic of Tasmotas and hit MQTT discover. And it'll go and find all your stuff, or you can actually have it scan IP addresses. So it's really cool of being able to, and it just keeps a small little SQLite database actually in the folder, however you install it. So it's real simple to use. It's really stupid simple to use. The only thing you may, once you add them, you're done. And you can hit backup all anytime. It'll go through and back all your stuff up at one time. So Another one that I do use is TDM. I'll give you the link to that one too. This is another one. It's a little different. TDM is going to be kind of like, it's called Tasmota Device Manager. It's going to be kind of like your Tasmo admin, but a little different. It does not run on your computer like HASS.io or a server or whatever. It runs locally, and it's in Python. It's written in Python. And now you do get a couple tabs. I got to shrink this down. It's as far as it lets me shrink it. So some of it will be behind me, no big deal. Is you can change the view mode from home. There's health. You can see all this information on there. There's the main one I use is firmware. And this all goes through MQTT. There's no HTTP doing this. So, but I'm on firmware, and then you can come in here and you can sort, and it shows you all of your firmware of your devices, all the different the OTA URLs. You can see your Wi-Fi signals. MQTT, you can come in here and see, hey, what's my group topics? Did I mess up my group topic on stuff? Now, I know they're needing to build additional support for group topic 1, 2, 3, and 4. I know the developer has been busy with some stuff, and he hasn't really updated some of this. But for the most part, for what I use it for, it does work. You can come in here and let's see. Like here's that bulb that y'all were asking about. You can come in here and change a bunch of stuff with it. I haven't. You can do web UI. Is it buttons? Let's see. I know I have. I should have another one I can go off of. See, I don't use that this often, but the rules. Oh yeah, I'm sure it does do the compressed rules. You can see on the rules, look at the rules. It's pretty cool. It builds it in this rule editor, and you can go through and instead of trying to write them out in the console, you can do things, and then you can actually watch rules go through, so you can watch the vars and the memory and the timers, kind of like in real time. So it's really easy if you're really into a lot of rules. You can come in here and do your rules as well for different devices. So, which if you have a bunch of different rules, yeah, see how there are a bunch of different rules here, rule 1, rule 2, rule 3. So it makes it easier when you have a bunch of rules, and you can see it's actually showing one of the vars right here. And you can notice I did pull up the console on it. So this is a little more of an advanced, not to say advanced, but it's definitely a lot more than what TasmoBackup. They're not going to be the same. But what I'd like to do is, if I'm upgrading a lot of stuff, now you'll know I do have my own bins on a local web server. But if you had them pointed to the Hackbox, you could come in here and this is the console. You could actually just type in upgrade space 1, and it would automatically go out and pull things. So I may hit several at once. I'll just click, 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 and go upgrade 1, upgrade 1. I'll upgrade 4 or 5 at one time. Or if you're really brave, and which I have done that in an older live stream, you can send a group topic to all of Tasmota's and have all of your devices upgrade all at the same time. So, but that's I don't know how brave I am today to do that on this many devices. So yeah, I kind of went through that one real quick. It does have web UI stuff, but that's a good one to go look at. So, I mean, if you're using Tasmo Admin, and you have no problems with it, I mean, roll with it. I would just probably not have it running at the same time as doing upgrades. That one's really scary because there's just a lot of stuff going on in the middle of an upgrade. But so we've been going for hour and 42. I was hoping to do a device group real quick. If y'all want to see, we want to see that one right quick. I don't know if we got, y'all have time. Yeah, y'all want to see device groups or not, or we just want to answer a couple questions? Up to y'all. How many smart devices? There's currently 100 and now this isn't smart devices. Currently have 107 wireless devices on my network. And I know some people are thinking like, whoa, you must like Wi-Fi stuff. All right, Frederico, I appreciate it. If I did a search for expressive chips, how many do I have on my network? So I've got 80, there's 81 expressive ESP chips in the network. So that's, some of them are an ESP home, some are a little custom code. So I would say, I'm trying to think of stuff that's not ESP. I guess, what do you count? I've got a couple of Zigbee devices. I don't have Z-Wave. I got rid of that. Don't have any Bluetooth. So I've got maybe 4, 5, 6 Zigbee little sensors. Everything else is going to be ESP8266. I've got a few ESP32s. So I guess you could say just on light bulb switches and stuff like that and sensors, you're around 80 or so. But most everything else I can, when I can, I will do Ethernet wiring to it. It just, because I have single story house, it's pretty simple to run Ethernet cable, and Ethernet cable just works. So, but other than that, that's, so I've got about 80 or so, which I guess we got some extras here from the test board. So, but now you got me wondering if, what's the hell's going on outside? Oh, okay. Yeah, with because it's really easy access to the attic. This is what's going on outside. I guess a good front's coming into me. So yeah, there's definitely I've actually thought of that, wanting to just try to put anything and everything I have on the network, and just because I wanted to see what the I got just 2 Unify access points, and just to see anything and everything, like what I could get on the network. So oh, you fly for, so I'm glad I'm not going to work with that around. TasmoBackup, does it get tricky when you have a compile bin to not overwrite? Oh, no. What do you mean, like, get tricky? Like, 'cause that's what I've been using for them. You can see when I do compile my own bin, I'll actually change the tag in them so I know it's mine. I just changed my OTA URLs. If you saw those, they all point they're pointing to a local little web server that I just turn on, and I throw the bin files in there, and then I don't, because I'm too lazy to go in here and hit choose file and browse and all that. I just let it pull from there. Yeah, it's if you just change the OTA URL to something that just doesn't work, then you can't accidentally do a start upgrade on it. That's another way to do that. No, I've got 2 access points, and it's not it's kind of like an L shape with the backyard, but I've got one access point on one corner of the house and one access point on the other corner of the house. And it covers well, just the Unify ACLR, I think it is. So, but for the most part, just about everything can see both access points for the most part. Now the signal isn't great, but for the most part they can. So, trying to think what else I probably have to cover. I'll probably do like device group stuff later at another one with the test board. The device groups is pretty cool. Probably want to do that one with I'll show how we do how to easily do 2 dimmers with smart lights, but using single pole dimmers and then using smart lights, and it keeps that same functionality of you don't have to teach everybody. They just go to the wall, hit the button, and the dimmers will work like they normally do. But then you do have the ability with smart lights to change the color, or like for instance, I have like 6 down lights in the living room, and that way I can just turn on like the front 2 or the back 2 or etc. So, yeah, I just don't rely. We do the 5 gigahertz that we do. Most of the media streamers are on. There's just not a lot of 2.4 gigahertz stuff that I have that's high bandwidth. There's, I think, maybe 1 or 2 little cameras maybe, but they're low bandwidth. Nothing crazy. So, I don't know. Let me see. Where they have moved everything. The utilization. It used to be right here. Channel utilization. Yeah, 2.4 is saying like 20% utilized, and 5 gigahertz saying like 10% utilized. So I still think there's plenty of air room left, right? And if I really need to, I could just add a 3rd access point and jump on the 3rd 2.4 gigahertz channel and be a bad neighbor and hog them all, right? So, all right, Justin, I got to do the same. I got work in 6-7 hours or so, 7 hours. So, I'm gonna do the same thing. If everybody else, and see, I didn't make, Raspberry's still here. I didn't, the only thing I told you to buy was buy some Wagos if you don't have any. But other than that, I do appreciate the donations, Alex. Thank you. And holler at us if you get stuck on doing your Multipress stuff. It's truly, I will still say to this day, that Multipress has been a game changer on a lot of stuff. So, all right. Take it easy. I appreciate everybody being here. Sir Good Enough, Radio Nerd. And hopefully we'll have some other stuff soon. And that's it. And y'all take care.